man.
Shout out to Wally. Shout out to Wally.
Directive Wally. Wladimir Klitschko versus my man Tony the Thompson Tiger.
AKA the robot. Wladimir Klitschko.
Yeah, AKA the robot.
Wally.
You know, they tried to say he had he's a mechanical version of Lennox Lewis. You know what I'm saying? HBO fighting for, what was it, the IBO?
The IBO
and
WBO and IBF.
The WBO and IBF.
WBO and IBF title, heavyweight championship, the linear championship of the world, because Wladimir Klitschko is considered the linear championship of the world, or they trying to find it. But coming off the lackluster performance back in January, where GYGB basically fell asleep on the couch, so my man tried to come out with a more thunderous approach. We forming like Voltron. Got my man Ride or Die.
He back on
Cold
the scene.
Train back at the set.
Yo, that's why I'm back here. Look, real quick, some overdue shout-outs. I want to shout out to my man, the Islander, and my man, Jose on Fire. But look, man, let me jump right into this thing, man. I watched the fight last night. I tried to stay up. It was a lackluster fight. Well, the first round was kind of interesting. It looked like it was going to be an alley fight. First couple rounds looked like it was going to be an alley fight. Tony Thompson came in with that somewhat slick southpaw.
First of all,
right.
let's get back to that. The dressing room. I don't feel that. The dressing room.
I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Getting a little two-step one. Too bad they ain't coming.
Saul was in his corner. Shout out to the brothers, man. That was their
Oh yeah, that's
yeah.
Damn. Slip up on Cold Train part right there. Good peeping. That's
Yeah.
he had
DC connection.
DC Connect. Steve Francis was in the house. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He from
Peterson brothers trainer was also training him.
Sean Bay Mitchell. They all from the same hood in DC. I don't know where from. But let me get into the fight. Tony Thompson, he came out with that southpaw style. I thought that was giving Klitschko problems early on. But once again, it's a Klitschko lackluster performance. Now, Klitschko, technically sound. I'm not taking anything away from him. He seems to follow instructions good. But this is why people have a hard time warming up to this guy. He's doing a basic 1-2, as Lennox said, and he's not throwing any combination, no 2, 3, 4-piece combinations. It's just a basic 1-2, and he do that little cat paw size up that Lennox used to do, but Lennox will follow up with some heat behind it.
Yeah.
And to me, the fight was just based on Tony Thompson getting tired, more so than what Klitschko did to win the fight.
Well, it's funny because the one thing we saw in that fight.
And I'm moving my hands. Sleep. Trying to take a shot at me, you know what I mean?
I'm in the training.
Sleeping in the gym. Let me fall back a little bit. You know what I mean?
The one thing we saw yesterday, I still recall is just that how Klitschko did take care of business like he was supposed to. He looked uncomfortable for that southpaw stance. He got hit with that left in the beginning.
Got cut too.
He got cut too. But he does not like pressure. He seemed very uncomfortable when that guy was following him around a little bit. And it just seemed like, when he was throwing body punches, he seemed a little winded. It looked like Thompson didn't have anything to offer to Klitschko to be afraid of. And that's what really and truthfully, really sealed the deal. It just seemed like if Thompson had a little bit more punching power, he could have gave Klitschko more problems, and that fight could have been more interesting. But, to be honest, when I look at that fight, I really look at it like, there's only one person that can really give Klitschko any type of problems. And y'all said
Tomorrow.
Who next? That's
Shout out to Sam Peters, man.
Sam Peters,
All right. I mean, first of all, I'm not gonna brand it as a lackluster performance because
he did get a knockout.
He got the knockout. He knocked out 90% of his opponents,
and it was better than his last fight.
A lot better. He's dealing with a southpaw with an awkward style. And what I noticed in the fight was that when Tony jabbed with him, he caused a lot of problems with Klitschko. Like early on, when he was jabbing with him from the southpaw stance, he wasn't allowing Klitschko to line up. Klitschko, I don't know, nowadays he's starting to use his jab as a rangefinder for the 1-2. When in the past he used to pump it. He doesn't pump it no more. And when Tony jabbed with him, and if he throws more than 2 punches, you give him problems. If he threw a 1-2 that went to the body or something, Klitschko leans back, and he has a history of doing that. This is why I think Samuel Peter can give him the most trouble. Not saying Samuel Peter is on the same planet technique-wise. Samuel Peter has the pop, and he has the type of pressure. When you back Klitschko up, he leans back. The first round, I think I gave either round 1 or round 2 to Tony. I gave him 2 rounds. I gave him 2.
I gave him 1 round.
I gave him 2.
It don't even matter. Go
ahead. But like the main thing with Klitschko is he has trouble with pressure. Tony stopped throwing the jab and started sitting there like this. Once you sit there like this, you allow him to line up for the 1-2, and his trainer was shooting it to him straight. Like, we didn't travel this far. He was looking right in his eyes like, come on, dog. He's like, what happened to the 7? Talking about 7 kids. And he was shooting to him straight because he did give up, and it takes someone.
Did he give up, or was it? See, my thing is, like you said about Samuel Peter, you got to be physically ready to deal with the Klitschko. I hear what you're saying about shooting the jab with Klitschko, but to do that, it takes a lot of energy to do that. You know what I'm saying? You got to, and which is going to get into our next
Even if Tony even said it, he said when he sparred with him, he realized he had to do some weight training. Obviously, he didn't do enough. Like, Klitschko is a physically
he's a big dude.
brutal, strong dude. But Klitschko, around round 3 or 4, his mouth started opening up. So if you put the right plan together, he can be beaten. He's still the most dominant heavyweight. Shout out to Vitaly. He's supposed to be coming back out to shoot, fighting Peter. You know what that's about. My big brother, shout out to Kanye West. He coming in there to get him out of there so he don't run into him. But 4 years sitting on your behind and coming in against Peter, that's going to be an interesting fight. But I always thought Vitaly is the best heavyweight since Lennox Lewis. And that's straight taken up from my little brother before he run into some problems.
The other thing, too, that we looked at, what I saw, too, from Thompson going back to that fight, it just seemed like he was just happy to just be in the same ring. Like, you know what? I'm just happy to be in the ring.
Biggest payday of his career.
I'm just happy to be. No knock on him, because Klitschko took care of business, but it just seemed like he wasn't really enthusiastic about it. Like, in the corner,
but that's they say that's the way he is. Like, he's mild man. But when he was getting that pep talk, he was making excuses. They was arguing at some point.
All right, let's fast forward real quick. So we 0 for 3 right now. American heavyweights is 0 for 3 in big fight. Well,
you know why? They in the NFL.
Yeah, NFL and power forward.
The American athlete to the rest of our people all over the world.
Yeah, no, they ain't no not. I'm not waving no American flag. I'm just saying.
This is why the reason why we don't have a formidable heavyweight contender is because a lot of the elite athletes who are large and agile, they're doing things like they're going to the NFL, the NBA for the money, and they're not,
or they're playing it in the UFC.
They're not taking a risk. They're not taking a risk, and they're not. Boxing is not culture-wise a high priority over here.
It's not the flagship sport like it was in the 40s and the 50s.
So you said go forward. All right, let's talk about this. David Hay, I've read something said that he will violently knock Klitschko out.
No.
I will bet my lungs that I use for Guard Your Grill Boxing on that when that fight does. If it does take place and it happen, that Klitschko smash right out on him.
Too small.
Smash right. Too little. Walking right down.
And I'm gonna tell you something else too. What people forget. David Hay's chin is not the best either.
No, the fight probably gonna happen because it's a selling fight, and you probably gonna ready to start hearing the buzz like my man Wladimir said. But I don't see it. I need to see David Hay in one of these tune-ups and they do some rumblings. But
you gotta have a crazy slip game.
Have a crazy slip game.
The deal with Klitschko, you gotta be able to take a punch too because he hits very hard.
So I mean, do you think that do y'all consider Klitschko the unified champion, even though he hasn't unified it? Does he need to unify the belts?
I mean,
always consider him the linear champion.
I mean, until somebody beat him now, I might say he's less than this. But look, man, nobody found it ain't a style out there yet.
That can really beat
him.
Beat
it. So how can I hate on him?
I mean, there's only one person we can get to beat him.
Who's that?
We got to train Big Mike, man.
Big Mike?
We got to train Big Mike.
Yeah, well,
Big Mike got a lot of stuff going on. They start thinking about hedge funds in the middle of the fight. Samuel Peter, and the fact that his brother's fighting him, that fight's not going to happen, I don't think.
Right.
But it's going to be interesting to see how Vitaly looks. Vitaly was, in my eyes, the linear champion prior to his retirement. I had him beating Lennox Lewis if he didn't cut his eye and his mouth in that fight. But the rematch, Lennox would have won because Lennox came in that fight unprepared. Lennox was on his way out.
Lennox was on his joint.
And plus, he didn't prepare for him. Remember, he was supposed to fight somebody else prior to that fight. I forget who it was. Lennox was.
He was tired. He tried to bomb him out. Because that was the word on the street is if you pressured the Klitschkos, you could bomb him out. But that was Wladimir. That wasn't Vitaly. Because Vitaly fights kind of identical to Lennox. And he'll sit there and jab with
you. It just saddens me to see tall guys who ain't displaying the science. Larry Holmes, Riddick Bowe, Lennox Lewis. You watch these tall guys fighting like lightweights.
It's hard.
Crazy jams,
so
shoulder roll, turning. It's just like when I watch Tony Thompson. No disrespect to Tony Thompson, but he's just like, what a waste of size and space. You know what I mean? Just keeping it all the way 100, just a waste, man.
If he had any power, he could have.
I mean, just any inkling of a power, but that's the heavyweight division.
Wladimir Bambucci never went to jail.
Don't get me started.
That's just like a big
that was a night of walking. What my man ITC, a nightmare walking psychopath talking right there.
Speaking of psychopaths, let's get to 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks.